The next question comes from Double T Game Hustle, who asks, if you had to choose one home console and one handheld to use for the rest of your life, what would they be? You have access to the full console library. Bonus question, which game would you play the most on each? Oh, shit. Oh, God, man. Oh, man. Okay, see, here's the thing. If I had access to just one home console, I'm going to say the PlayStation 5. Now, that might throw some people off because, like, wait, I thought you said before that the PS2 is your favorite. And it is. But the thing is, the PS5, they've been adding so many PlayStation 2 games to it over the last couple of years. You got Sly Cooper, you got Time Splitters, you got Jak and Daxter, you technically have Ratchet and Clank, even though it's through the PS3 streaming service, but still, you know, like, you have access to every generation of PlayStation on the PS5, including the PS Vita, when you look at all the remasters that came out for the PS4, like Gravity Rush Remastered and Tearaway Remastered, and then, you know, you got access to a bunch of PSP games, because they've been adding a bunch of those to, you know, you can buy them a la carte, but then you can also get them through the PS Plus premium subscription service. So I just feel like the PS5, because not only are you getting access to the amazing PS4 and PS5 library, but then like all the other generations of PlayStation, and it's just a great console in and of itself. So I think, just objectively speaking, for the all-arounder, I'd have to go for the PS5, and the game I'd play the most on it would come down to either whatever the current Call of Duty is or Resident Evil 4, of course. And then in terms of a handheld, that would come down to either the 2DS, or I know that's kind of like, wait, why the 2DS and not the 3DS? The 2DS, I have really bad OCD, so I'm always, like, looking at the freaking slider on the side, like, dang it, is the 3D really off, though? I don't like the 3D being on, whereas with the 2DS or the 2DS XL, it's like, I don't gotta worry about that. I can just play the games and not worry about the migraine-inducing 3D being on. The 3D effect is cool, it just gives me fucking headaches. And then, yeah, so it would either come down to that or the PlayStation Vita. I feel like if I had to choose just one, I'd probably go with the 2DS, because as much as I love the PS Vita, I feel like the 2DS, because we're talking about until the end of time, the PS Vita has a lot of amazing experiences through and through. Like, I can play Uncharted Golden Abyss and Gravity Rush and Tearaway and all these other games, like, you know, time and time again, and I love them. But I feel like there's something about the Nintendo games, especially the ones that were designed for the, you know, 2DS/3DS, where they have more replayability just built into the central gameplay loop, right? Like, while sure, I could play Golden Abyss over and over again, you know, it's still kind of like there's a structure to it. You have to dedicate a certain amount of time to each play session, and it's just like, you know, you're kind of playing through the same story over and over again, which, again, I love that game. Whereas when you look at something on the 2DS, for example, like, oh, I don't know, Mario Golf. I mean, it's Mario Golf. You know what you're getting. You dive in, you set up the rules as you want it, you can customize your character, you can go through the story mode if you want, or you can just play, like, you know, one-off matches, just go in and golf for a little bit and bullshit, you know what I mean? Then you got other games like Mario Kart, all the amazing Kirby games, Kid Icarus Uprising, chef's kiss. If I had to pick the game I'd play the most on there, probably Mario Kart 7. That would probably be the one that I play the most on there. I don't know. I'd really have to think about that one. I mean, there's some other games like Resident Evil 3D Mercenaries. Actually, no. Yeah, I take that back. I think that's the game I play the most. Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. That game is so kick-ass. And they have, like, semi-remakes of maps in there. Like, for example, I remember they have the village from Resident Evil 4 in that game, and it's funny because it's almost technically like a remake. Like, the first remake we had of Resident Evil 4 in there, even though it was like on a handheld console. It's just so cool seeing it on there. It played a lot like Resident Evil 5, but man, I love the 2DS, and yeah, if I had to pick between that or the Vita, I'd probably go 2DS. So PlayStation 5, with my most played game there being either the most recent Call of Duty or Resident Evil 4, and then for my handheld console, it would be the 2DS, and my most played game would probably be Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D.